Welcome to another episode of the Weeb Retreat podcast. We hope you enjoy your stay. We are the Weebs, your hosts. My name is James. This is Germs. And today we have a lot to talk about. How you doing, Germs?
Doing good, doing good. A lot of spicy things that happened this week. Whew.
We have a great show for you guys today. Timestamps will be in the description, as always. Man, let's get into the weekly roundup. Just before we start, I think, was it a couple weeks ago?
Like 4 or
I
so.
mentioned that, that we took Shaman King off of the roundup. I'd like to get into that. So on that episode, we left off. I said, it may or may not come back. That week, I was just behind a little bit. I didn't feel like watching Shaman King. We were maybe Germs wasn't as much, but we were kind of bagging on it every week that we'd review it. So I just want to give an update on that because I did say it's possible that it will come back on the roundup. It will no longer be on the roundup because I'm no longer watching it. I'm dropping it. I think it's terrible. Not terrible, but it's not
doing what
good
you
at
wanted
all.
to do.
No, I thought that this was the Brotherhood treatment, and this is absolutely not the Brotherhood treatment. And listen, if you've read the Shaman King manga, then you would know the same. The Shaman King manga, you might have to be showing that a lot this episode. The Shaman King manga is almost 300 chapters. This new 2021 adaptation is adapting, from what I've read, have not read the manga, people are saying it's adapting 3 chapters per episode. I think the sweet spot's 2. I think most people agree that the sweet spot is like 2 chapters an episode for pacing wise. I mentioned to you weeks ago, and ready to put you on the hot seat here. You gave me a shitty take. I was like, the pacing's bad. And you're like, I don't mind it. I'm watching a lot of shit stuff. And I'm like, no, that's not a good excuse. It doesn't matter if you're watching 1 show, 20 shows, 5 shows. If the pacing is bad, then it's not a good anime. It's not a good product. It doesn't matter how much I'm watching. If I want to be spending time doing this, then I want to be watching the best of the best. You know me. It's entertainment, right? I'm trying to be entertained here. But the pacing is it's like one of those shonens where they fight and then like the next episode they're friends. And like it was so weird, dude. It looked terrible. The character drawings looked horrendous. It had this bright color choice that I hated. The colors looked washed out. I actually think the OG anime looks better, to be honest with you. And the fights were garbage. Not much great fight. And listen, it's not like one of those things kills it for me. It's like the combination of all of them. I think I got like 6 episodes into it and I didn't enjoy a single one. And if you're watching 6 episodes of an anime and you literally have no enjoyment out of all of them, I'm not going to put myself through that. Germs is still watching it. You're still watching it, right, Germs?
Yeah, I'm still watching it. It's
He's
not the
going to make the
greatest.
trek.
Yeah, it's a trek. That's a good way to say it. It's not like it's like it's something like fun, maybe like something like Fruits Basket, like we're on edge of seat or something. It's just like, hey, I'm watching it because I'm already in it. Just another episode to throw on each week. But
If it was 12 episodes, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
If it was 12 episodes, I would do it. If it was 24, 50-50. The fact that it's slated to be 52 episodes, I'm not going to spend 52 weeks watching this shit. So yeah, I'm not watching it. I think listen, I'm still interested in the story. I will be checking out the manga, but I'm just not going to watch it. So that's why we have Germs. Germs will inform me on the good and the bad and the ugly. So he will be letting us know. So if you guys are fans of Shaman King, I'm sorry. I just can't do it. Not at 52 episodes. I'm sorry, I can't. Just keeping it real. Listen, I would rather talk about stuff I enjoy than sit here week after week bagging on anime. Because, I love this medium. I love this art form. I don't want to sit here and trash it every week. You know what I mean? So that's not good for you guys. That's not good content that you guys want to see, especially if you're a Shaman King fan and you're tuning in no one's tuning in every week. And we don't have the biggest viewership yet, but we are trying to grow. But no one would tune in every week to hear us talk about a show. If they're watching it, we're watching it. And, no one's tuning in for us to bag on a show week after week, right? Like if someone's watching it alongside of us, they're obviously not watching it because they hate it. They're watching it because they like it. So, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna put on a front. I think even in the episodes, I was like, I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm curious to see if it gets any better. But no, I don't feel like it's gonna get any better. Again, like I said, it was really a combination of three things. The pacing was horrendous. It looked terrible. It was not visually great to look at, and the fights didn't do it for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I will check out the manga one day. I promise. Don't hate me. The manga looks great. Every form I've read, everyone says that both these anime adaptations are inferior to the manga, and it looks that way. And man, I gotta say the OG anime looks so much better. The way the characters are drawn, the colors, it just looks so much better. I know that some people don't like 2000s anime, but I do. So, all right, I just wanted to get that off my chest. I'm
Mm-hmm.
dropping Shaman King. I ain't watching that shit anymore. Just so no one, because if someone wants to like marathon all our episodes and they start from episode 1 onwards, they're gonna be like, why did they stop this Shaman King show? Well, that's why, because I thought it was garbage. All right, so for this week's weekly roundup, holy crap, didn't it feel like everything just like ramped up here? I mean, this really does feel like the end of the season here. I mean, we are 1 week away from the end of this season ending, and maybe not the one that we're about to talk about, but all the other shows, it felt like everything just went to 11 here. Would you agree with that, Germs?
Oh yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Everything, a lot of spice, a lot of spice. That's why this episode's gonna probably be so long. Just there's so much to talk about and unravel
So
here.
much. Yeah, so much to talk about. We're hitting the climax. All right, let's get into Boku no Hero, My Hero Academia Season 5, Episode 13. We're not at the end of the season. This will be two cores, continuous. So, Episode 101. What did you think of this week's episode, Germs?
I thought it was a pretty good episode for setting up again. Just like how the last week was, with a lot of little things going on, a lot of interactions here. A lot of again, a lot of little things that probably like as a manga reader, it's like, oh yeah, they're setting up a lot here. A lot of, and like the interest that opener, people were going
Yeah,
crazy over all over the internet, all over Twitter for that, and
yeah,
just seeing all the different things go on. Best Genius is missing. Air being cute. Everything. It was just a roller coaster of things. Some happy moments, some good moments, and then some random like, oh, what the fuck, Best Genius, what, and all that other kind of stuff. Especially that opener. I think that opener really added some spice to this. But ooh, a very interesting episode. Probably one of the better episodes of the season so
yeah.
far. Because
I'd agree.
I feel like this should be like episode one. Like I feel like last week should have been episode one. We should have just skipped this whole thing. But that's just my opinion on it. I feel like a waste of like 13 episodes, whatever, to get for these two good episodes that get everything all set up. So
Completely agree.
yeah, so pretty good episode. Basically, the whole plot happened this episode was the same as what happened the whole past week, except for last week's episode, last whole season. So we're finally getting back on the train. So hopefully this next
Ah,
12 weeks is good. So,
thank God. Finally.
but what are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I think you mentioned it. Best Genius. That was like almost like a throwaway line, but yeah, if you're paying attention, that's like probably going to be a very important thing. You would know. You're a manga reader. So I expect that to be somewhat important. Um, I don't know if it was a flashback. I think this is the scene you're talking about that everyone was going crazy on Twitter with Shigaraki. Is that the small little scene that everyone was going nuts over?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously, as an anime only, I don't know what the hell that's about. But of course, that's showing, not telling. That keeps me intrigued. I'm interested. Obviously, that'll be explained at some point. But yeah, I really like Shigaraki's character. Yeah, I mean, we're in June and we have like a Christmas episode. I think that was like really interesting. But it's comfort food, man. It's that warm comfort food.
Mm-hmm.
Ari, like you mentioned, she was really cute. The end there, I feel like with My Hero Academia episodes, I always talk about like the cliffhanger, the end there. I don't know, they have there's more content there than the whole episode, but yeah. So Todoroki approaches Deku and Bakugo. Hey, do you guys, because the internships are coming back, do you guys want to train with me and Endeavor? Um, this is where you're talking about the series kind of shifts to those three, huh?
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah. From here on, honestly, no one else really matters. Like except for obviously like pro heroes and the big few. They come up every once. Like if some of the students they show up like oh, okay, they still exist. They're doing something, but it's really just about these three now on. No one else really matters. That's just
Yeah,
that's just
and
my
that's
opinion.
what. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm afraid of, honestly. Um, and they're doing this right after Deku gets his well, it's revealed that he's gonna have even more powers, which we both kind of think is an ass pull. Um, in the beginning of the series, it was kind of like Deku, Uraraka, and like Ida, kind of. Those were like the three, right? And yeah, I mean, past seasons they're kind of like not even that important as much. So
Mhm.
listen, Bakugo and Todoroki are interesting characters, no doubt, and I do think that they should get their shine. But if it is true that that's where the series goes and it kind of forgets all the other characters, that'll be a shame, honestly. My Hero Academia has done a great job. I bagged on this season for like 1B, and how we're not used to 1B and kind of getting 1B shoved down our throats too quickly. 1A has been very established, though. I mean, obviously, I couldn't be able to tell you all the names, but every time a 1A character comes on, very familiar with them. We know their personality, we know their quirks. So we're definitely used to all the 1A characters. And if it only focuses on three from now, then that is a concern. And yeah, that kind of sucks, but good episode overall. Again, weird seeing Christmas in June, but that's just the way that's what it was in the manga, I guess, so yeah, again, it's Boku no Hero. It's you're gonna get what you expect with it. Hopefully the shit picks up. Final thoughts for this week's episode, Germs.
Good episode. A lot of setup for what's going to be going on here. So just hopefully to see what the rest of what happens here is pretty good. So hopefully they don't disappoint me. But bam, just
We're
keeping
like
it
we're
normal.
like here with Boku no Hero. It's like there's never any crazy moments this season. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Hopefully it starts to ramp up here a little bit. But yeah, we're kind of been chilling at a medium. All right. Oh, let's get into this one. Don't toy with me, Miss Nagatoro, episode 11. What did you think of this week's episode?
Oh, good shit. I think like a few weeks ago when we had that super fire episode, I was like, okay, this is probably like the best episode and probably will be. Nah, it's back at it again, baby. Such
It's back
fire,
at it again.
fire the whole way through. Like the just everything, the powers, might, the boing boing, the president drawing, and then
Oh, and I love that they showed it a lot. Yes, it's not just a one scene type of thing. They have it in the background. They're comparing Nagatoro to it. Ah, so good. So
so
good.
good. And then you get that, just like that. It's like the Nagatoro recipe of spice. It's like you get that like spicy, the friends and Nagatoro. Then you get like a scene with just Nagatoro. Then you get that really nice scene with Nagatoro, which that was the end there. Oh, so
Mhm.
good. When she's all like, oh, we'll just dress me in cosplay and stuff. He's like, oh no, I just like, just you how you are. And it's like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's the
Beautiful.
good, that's the good stuff. That's
Poetry.
beautiful, 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 beautiful. So just overall great episode. No complaints at all about this episode.
None. No complaints. I love the episode structure of Nagatoro. You always have an engaging first half, and then the second half blows the roof off. The second half, they always stack the second half. You always leave on a very high note with every episode. This was the best episode of the season, easily. 11 out of 10. Perfect episode. Not a minute where I didn't enjoy it. Um, I've never wanted to say this earlier on because I never want to call it early, but this is anime of the season, in my opinion, so far of everything we've been watching, even here on the roundup. Yeah, the president, spicy, great mix of humor, great mix of foreshadowing, great mix of drama, great mix of romance, great mix of it all. This episode had it all. Left on a great note.
good shit. It's just good shit.
Speechless. It's just good. It does what it needs to do and more. It surpasses expectations. And yeah, this is the best episode of the season. We had 2 left last week. I'm like, please just give us 2 decent ones and I'm happy. This is not decent. This is perfect. This is everything you could ask for and more. So, 1 episode left this season. That sucks.
It's gonna be a good one.
I'm gonna miss this show, man.
And you didn't even want to watch it originally.
I was on the fence about it. I never not wanted to watch it, but yeah, this is so. Thank you, Jeremy. I formally thank you for turning me on to this show. Final thoughts for this week's episode of Miss Nagatoro.
Just good shit. That's all it needs to be said. You gotta be watching this. If you're not watching this, you're missing out. Maybe if it's not your thing, then maybe not. But if this is your thing, this is your thing right here. This is piece de resistance.
But even if you think it's not your thing, you still have to try it, because a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people that want to cancel it, a lot of people that hate it, a lot of the bullshit, it's not what it appears to be. It's actually wholesome in its own way. You know what I mean? Like, people don't think it would be, but it is. It's not just an ecchi / weird bullying anime where like the girl steps on him or some weird shit. Like, it's that, but it's also just a normal rom-com, and it's also just wholesome in its own way. Again, even if you think it's not your type of show, just give it a shot. It might be your type of show. So yeah, we're not going to ask you to watch this. We demand that you watch this. This is a great show. And yeah, comment down below. Are you guys watching it? If you're not, then you need to comment that you will start watching it, because it's really good. It's really good. All right, let's move on here. We didn't really spend much time on that one, but I guess not much needs to be said when you have a masterpiece in front of you. All right, let's get on to next week's episode. Tokyo Revengers, episode 11. This concludes the arc that we're currently on. We're about to enter a new one. And yeah, what'd you think of this week's episode, Germs?
I thought it was a pretty good episode. A lot of little moments, a lot of drama with our boy Mike, not Mikey, Draken, and him getting back on his recovering and all that. A lot of little good moments there. I felt the emotion. It didn't feel too forced. It felt like, okay, our boy got stabbed. We don't know if he's gonna be able to make it. And then after he gets out and Draken gives him the outfit, Takemichi the outfit.
Such a great moment.
Oh yeah, I would agree as well. And then once he goes to our girl Hana, what's her name again?
The main girl?
Yeah.
Hina,
that's what it was. I was thinking Hana for some reason. And then
don't disrespect Hina like that.
Hey, I missed one letter here. I just missed one letter.
Hey, that's good for anime. We're Americans, so yeah.
So giving her the necklace, and then then the big reveal at the end. Yes. Hey, you want to go see Hina? It's like, oh shit.
Yep.
I felt like there's gonna be like a little bit of twist there. Maybe she's in the hospital or something, or maybe let's be some little twist, because the series would just be over right now if that was the case.
Exactly.
So I feel like I know what's gonna happen next week, but we don't know. We have no idea. So good stuff. Not the greatest, but it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Great way to end this. What we already had, and not too much setup for what's gonna happen this next arc. But we'll see next episode what happens, what kind of spice goes down, and why. What's it has to be something off. There just has to
definitely
be. So
yeah, the story will be over. Yeah.
So we'll see next week, and hopefully the next arc is good.
Yep. Yeah, this was a very strong first core. It will be a continuous going into the second core. According to the Blu-ray releases, it's likely going to be 24 episodes. So this is, a good first half to the season. So yeah. I kind of bagged on the last 2 weeks of Tokyo Revengers. I think that this one was pretty good. Like a step up compared to the last 2 episodes. Hanma Shuji there's a moment where he warns Mikey about Valhalla, and that's intriguing. I assume Valhalla plays a role in the next arc.
Mhm.
But yeah, um, Takemichi saves Tomon. He gets that shit done. We're happy for him. We're rooting for him. Gains the jacket. That's great, and he's probably gonna wear it from now on, which will be badass. He's into that gang life. And there's a moment where Mikey kind of questions him. You remember he's sitting on the roof. He's like, "Who the hell are you? How did you know all this?" But then he kind of just jokes around because he's Mikey. But again, you don't know if he's like seriously thinking that, or if they're that's just for dramatic effect. But that's something to think about.
Mhm.
And so yeah, at the end of the episode, this series is great with cliffhangers. Tokyo Revengers is so great with the cliffhangers. Again, not to compare it because there was a lot of comparisons at the beginning of the season, but it's kind of like erased in that way. A lot of great cliffhangers. So Takemichi returns to the present. We see him working his job. He's like, "What the fuck?" And then meets up with Hina's brother. Shit, the name escapes me. But yeah, and then they drive off to see Hina. You would think they would put like if there is something wrong with Hina, you'd think that they'd put that twist there at the end, but
We'll
they didn't.
see.
So
I don't know.
yeah, like you said, it's kind of fun being anime onlys. Like we don't know where the story's going to go, but intriguing nonetheless. So
Mhm.
any predictions? I guess like where do you think the story goes? Do you have anything? Any clue?
Maybe she's in a coma or something. Maybe like the attack still did happen, but she survived, but just like in a coma or something like that. I honestly have zero idea. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, it'll be interesting nonetheless. So yeah, guys, if you are watching Tokyo Revengers like we are, comment down below what you guys think of this week's episode. This is a good start to the first core. It'll be continuous, so we're gonna get. I think we're gonna get 13 more episodes. According to what people were saying on the website with the Blu-ray releases. So going into a new arc here. Excited. Good episode. Strong start to the season. All right, let's get into. This will be a fun one. 86, episode 11. This concludes 86. So, yeah, 86 is one of the more popular series this season. It might even be like number one, honestly. I
It
mean,
is.
it is. Yeah, I mean, people are really hyped up about this one. And so, yeah, we're going to review this episode. We'll finish the roundup and then we'll do a review of it. So, yeah, please lead the way, Jeremy. What did you think of episode 11?
Thank God it's finally over. Oh my God! What a snooze fest of an ending here. That
And you've already pissed off half the viewers. This is fantastic.
this
So,
th-
yeah, it
I
was
did not like.
certainly yeah, I mean, it was certainly like a weird ending. You want to go through it? You want to like what were your emotions besides being bored and, not happy with it? Anything? Give the people something. What'd you think of this episode, Germs?
It's just so melodramatic, man. It's like they
It
already like.
is.
It feels like every episode they're like, oh, Shin's like, oh, he does something like, oh, let's go to this cave. It's safe. All the enemies pass by, and you're like, so yeah, I'm just gonna wait for the end of the episode when he betrays them. In the most obvious way of all time. It's like,
Yep.
oh,
Yep.
let me drive the thing. Does exactly what you thought he was gonna do. It's like, wow, who could have seen this? This asshole's been doing this every episode. What a good friend.
Yep.
And then during the fight, those like little robots, the humanoid robots, started coming in. Now it's all this shit.
So
Is like,
weird.
it's like what the fuck?
Where did that come from? Where did that come from?
Out their
Because it's very
ass.
convenient. It's very convenient that the other four members aren't in their own, mech. So yeah, they can just they have their guns and they can just fight the humanoid robots. So very convenient there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. This is just garbage every week. I wish I could say better things. Obviously I want every show to be a fantastic show, but
Yeah.
it just kept doing the same beats over and over again. It's like it does like one unique thing, and then it does it over and over again. Oh, introduce someone, have him be killed. The end of the episode, Oh, he does something helpful. Then like it seems like he's on their side. Then he's gonna betray him at the end. It's like what like it just keeps repeating the same thing over again on shuffle. It doesn't know how to do anything really unique and just let it be unique.
Yeah.
So it's just I imagine probably the light novel readers and whoever are gonna be like, wow, the like story and dialogue are absolutely next level, and the story is so fantastic, and these characters are so deep and well written. But it doesn't matter how well and deep your character is if it dies within like 15 minutes. So
Uh,
I imagine I feel like this would have been so much more setup if maybe if everyone just died at the end. Okay, we had this time with all these great characters. Like
like a
they're
build
great
up.
characters. Yeah, the build up. They're great characters, and then they die in 15 minutes after. It's like you just, it's just a horrible show.
Oh, he's giving it the horrible rating, ladies and gentlemen.
So that's my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts?
All right, let's make a cut right there. What are you looking at, Germs? You looking at your phone?
No, I'm just looking away from the. I don't. I don't want to even think about this show.
I noticed that recently, though. Can you look up a little bit more, though?
Yeah,
All right. All
I'm
right. Let's
disappointed,
get the
Mr.
energy
James.
flowing. I know. It's a depressing topic, but let's get the energy flowing. All right, ready? Pause back in. All right. So yeah, what did I think of it? You know, I'm conflicted, man. I just am. It's one of those like I think it's in my opinion hasn't changed. First of all, let's just talk about the episode because we are supposed to review it later. So we'll just talk about the episode. We'll get through Nomad, then we'll give our full thoughts on the series. So let's just talk about the episode. I thought that this was such a weird way to end the series. Like, wasn't this just a weird way to end the series? Not the series, the season. Uh, I don't know if the second core is going to be season 1, part 2, or season 2. I don't really know if it makes a difference. But let's just assume this is just one season, right? Like we're not getting, besides a special next week, we'll talk about that. We're not getting more of the story for a little while. So for this to be the cutoff point, yes, I know it's going to adapt more. I know that. I know that we're going to get another core, and you can watch those episodes, and it'll be, a more continuous story. I get all that, but for this slate of episodes, these 11 that they first give us, it's a weird place to end it. Shin is Captain Sabaho once again, and Lena goes to try and find them. I guess I thought, why didn't this happen last? Like the show moves slow, but it also is repetitive. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't even know. I'm like jumbled thinking about it. I'll save my full thoughts on the series for the review, but I wouldn't have. This is not the ending I would have preferred. I know it's certainly not the ending you would have preferred, and yeah, I don't know. Not much to say, man. It is melodramatic. There's nothing you said that I don't disagree with. Final thoughts for this week's episode of 86. It didn't win you over, huh, Germs?
No, it's just another episode of 86. Just another episode. For better and worse, for better or worse.
Yeah. All right, we will get to a review after the weekly roundup, but yeah, guys, 86. This is the one you're all hyping up. This is like the number one of the season. What did you guys think of this week's episode, the finale of this season? Yeah, all right. Let's get into the final show on the weekly roundup here. Nomad, Megalo Box Season 2, Episode 12. One more to go for this show as well. Just to talk about that. Boku no Hero and Tokyo Revengers continuous. 86 done. Nagatoro one more, and Nomad one more. So yeah, one more episode to go. What'd you think of this week's episode of Megalo Box Germs?
I thought it was pretty good. I think this is what we wanted a few weeks ago. We were hoping for. a great three
Yep.
episodes to give us some setup for this last fight and all the different characters and their moments and their uh, or falling and rising. Absolutely fantastic, great episode. The all the stuff with our big with not Big Mac but Mac.
A
Him
lot of
his
Mac
fall.
stuff in this episode.
Yeah, he almost had like the same journey as our boy the Nomad Joe,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Uh-huh.
talked about a
I'm
lot.
glad
So
you picked
like,
that up.
well, I think it's pretty obvious that they had like the whole.
Yeah, I mean it's obvious,
Yeah,
but I'm glad that you are
yeah,
making the
I liked it.
comparison here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like just seeing him in his lowest. He's drinking in a bar. Drinking alone in the street. He's absolutely at his lowest. Then he sees his old cop friend. He's like, I'm still alive. My family is I would have done the same thing as my wife. Save my son, save me.
Yep.
Just a great overall episode.
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic with that build up for Mac because we already know Joe's his journey here. So luckily, you get to see a little bit more focus, and so we'll feel a little bit more for both sides next week during the fight. You don't want to just see a one-sided fight. So it's
True.
absolutely fantastic what they've done here. So hopefully, this next episode really caps off and gives a nice ending to this overall fantastic show. Not a little bit slow in the middle here, in the middle there, but I think it's picking up its wings and coming back to finish it off great.
Yeah, for sure. And you don't want a fight where you're only emotionally invested in one character, Joe. So that's why they're giving us some time with Mac. And yeah, I mean, listen, I think I would have liked another episode, but that's just me being me. Listen, this is a hidden gem. This really is. No one's talking about this one. If you're a fan of combat sports, this should be a classic, man. This really should be. Like when it plays that song, I love that shit,
Oh yeah.
man. The hummingbird story, the nomad theme, the theme about returning home. So good, dude. I mean, it's just like it's an anime only, and whoever is the writers of this show, really, you know, give yourself a round of applause. I mean, you guys are incorporating some fantastic themes in this second season. Great buildup of Mac. I'm just glad that I watched this season. I'm just glad that we checked it out. We talked about it every week. No one else is talking about it. It probably won't get a third season. It's our own little hidden gem that we found, honestly. I mean, people kind of talk about the first season, but no one's talking about this season. It's so unique. I mean, it's just so unique. You know, the Hispanic theme, the nomad theme. It's incorporated new characters, but it still has a familiar feeling to it. It's just good. It's just good. I love, Yuri to Joe. You better not die. That's very ominous. Maybe foreshadowing. Maybe. Maybe. Who knows? We should take a prediction on how we think the final episode's going to go.
Mhm.
But overall, I mean, I just want to say bravo. I mean, this was just such a treat to watch. It was just a really fun treat to watch. I'm just happy we checked it out. Honestly, that's what I felt watching this episode. That is what I got from it. I'm like, this was good. I'm glad I watched this. And I'm glad that not only did we get bits and pieces of the hummingbird story, we got like the full story. You know what I mean? Like it's fully concluded now. And you would think most of it would be narrated over Joe, but they narrated it over Mac because this was kind of Mac's episode, and kind of pointing out, like you said, they're coming from two different places, but they've kind of had the same journey. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah, you want to guess what happens next episode? You have any? What do you think goes down?
It's a bit hard. I think both of them will end up fine. Maybe Mac will rely less on the implant or something like that. I don't think anything bad's gonna happen to either of them. Joe, he's been getting help from with his, the ramifications of his drug abuse and all that. And then, I think Mac won't take it too far. He still wants to go back home and see his family. It's not like he's doing this like a rabid dog. So I think both of them will just have a great fight. They'll push themselves to their limits, but they won't try to go too far beyond it. Overdo it. They'll do the best that they can. So I think it's gonna end up nice. I think it's probably gonna
Who
get pretty
wins?
emotional. That's a tough one. I don't even know who to really root for here. I want Mac to win. To just because he
For
kind
his
of deserves
family.
it for his family and stuff. But it could also go to Joe either. That's the good thing about them building up both characters. Like I don't want both to win, but eventually someone's gonna have to lose. So we'll have to see next week. I don't really
So
know who.
you're emotionally invested enough into Mac where you'd be happy with if he wins. You'd actually be like fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did a really good job with him this episode. Yeah, that's my first question. Who wins? Second question: does Joe die? Because Yuri
No,
did ask him, "You better not die."
nah,
No way. No
nah,
way. Joe does not die next episode. No way.
nah. I'd
All
be
right.
amazed.
All right. Um. Yeah. So, I think Joe probably wins. How can you have the MC lose on the last episode? You know what I mean? But it might be like one of those things where it's like, okay, it's my final battle. Because he has said that. Like, I'm glad I lost to you. That type of thing. I don't think he loses though. I think he probably wins.
We
Him
might get a
dying though.
we might get
Go
a
ahead.
fake out like how Chief like when maybe he'll do a little moment like that. He'll get hit to the ground. He'll see Chief and he'll get the energy
Yeah.
back to go back on. That'd be
I
some
can only
beautiful.
I can only imagine what they're gonna do, man. If they can just incorporate Chief, incorporate a little bit of Team Nowhere, incorporate a little bit of Nambu. Ah, it's like this anime is like this season is like the redemption season. You know what I mean? Ah, I loved where we found Joe in the season. It just did so many new things, man. Like it's it's different than the first season, but it's not different in a bad way. It's not like a completely different show. It just tried a lot of new stuff, and I thought that most of it worked. I thought it was great. But listen, the second prediction, I'm not sure that Joe survives. I don't know. I don't
A
know.
madman.
I'm not saying he dies. I'm just saying I'm not sure that he survives. You know what I mean? When Yuri
Mhm.
asked him that, listen, it could be just building up suspense, but it could be that, hey, this is where our MC meets his demise. So I'll be on the edge of my seat, man. I'm really looking forward to this last episode. I really want to see how it goes down. So yeah, all right. Final thoughts for this week's episode, Germs?
Great episode. Great episode. Continue off. Right, my hype for this show is building after last week or a little week, maybe the week before. So good shit. Good
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, again, just like I've been saying, I'm just so glad that we watched this. So good. No one else is watching it. I think it's a little hidden gem. And I think if enough people come around to it, it'll become maybe give it 10 years, maybe like a little cult classic. You know what I mean? You know how like some shows people look back on and they have that like their fan base grows. Like initially they weren't super popular, but as people look back on them, they realize the beauty in them. I think that this one might be that. Maybe. If the weebs out there aren't dumb. All right. Comment down below if you guys are watching Megalo Box. Probably very few of you, but listen, I think that it's good shit. All right, that's the weekly roundup. Good stuff. Again, they all, besides Boku no Hero, they all ramped up like crazy this week.
Well, Book no
Uh,
Hero ramped up in terms of setup. I would say nothing crazy
Definitely in terms
happened,
of
but
setup. Definitely in terms of setup. But all the other ones, like even Tokyo Revengers, which is going to continue, at least that even left us off on like a huge cliffhanger. And then 86 ends. Uh, Nagatoro, beautiful. Nomad, building to that last fight. You can tell that we are coming to a close here in the spring 2021 season. What's your winner of the week, Germs?
a hard one. A hard one, especially this past few weeks. But
Yeah.
you know, as much as I do love Megalo Box and a lot of these other ones, I gotta just go back
Let me
home.
guess. Let me guess. 86. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm going back to just my roots, and going. It feels like going back home. Just good old anime fun. Nothing too crazy, nothing too serious, but we back home bit to Nagatoro, baby. It's just so good. It just feels so good. It's like eating like your mom's kitchen chicken noodle soup.
Yep.
It just feels so
That
good.
homemade recipe. That homemade beautiful recipe. You said it was close for you though this week, right? Like it was a little bit of
Yeah,
a toss up.
yeah,
For
as
me,
always.
it was no toss up at all. Nagatoro wins this one. Easy. Easy. Listen, I love Megalo Box too. And, Tokyo Avengers was pretty good. But easy. Easy Nagatoro for me. Once again, we're in agreement. We love Nagatoro. I'm glad that we both enjoy it. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I already read the manga before, so I already knew this was gonna be good shit. I already knew it was gonna
Yeah.
be, but
But for me,
I
as an
think.
anime only, I'm like enjoying it even more, man. I'm like, because I don't know where it's going. So when I see, but I guess you really enjoy it because of the adaptation. You know what I mean? Like the
Mhm.
pages are coming to life with this one.
Yeah, because like I'm about to say, this is gonna be probably important a little bit later, but just the enhancement of the manga coming to an anime really just brings out the beautifulness. It gives the extra flavors, some extra goodness. Those little
Right.
little pauses, with the voice acting and all that, all the beautiful animation and the style. It just comes alive. It just feels like it comes alive.
Mm-hmm.
So this is absolutely beautiful adaptation. Absolutely beautiful. Like there's some shows I see the adaptation, it's like, okay, it's exactly what I expected. Maybe a little bit better, a little bit worse, maybe, depends on the coin flip, whatever. But this was just an automatic, easy win. Like the anime is just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
All right, guys, that's our weekly roundup. Comment down below who is your winner of the week. And, next week it's going to be who was your anime of the season. Again, everything ramped up this week, man. We're coming to a close for the spring 2021 season. All right, so for our weekly discussion, we got 2 reviews coming at you. Like I mentioned, 86. Let's just get it out of the way real quick. We've kind of set our piece with the show, but here is going to be our spoiler-free review of 86. We're not going to get into the details. We're not going to spoil you guys on anything. Should I start or should you, Germs? Who should take the lead here?
I'll have you go for one. So I'm always one
All
going
right.
first.
All right, so with 86, listen, this is a very popular anime this season. You've probably heard about it if you're watching this video. I think this is probably, without having read the light novels, this is probably a fantastic adaptation, no doubt about it. I thought the visuals, the soundtrack, especially the soundtrack, the opening, the ending, it's all good. It's all good. The presentation is nice. Not a lot of bad frames. There's some CGI in this anime. Still looked good. Still looked good. A1 Pictures delivered a nice package to us. Here is because, let's just throw out the hot take. Let's just give it to you. Here's the issue. It just didn't connect with me personally. The art, the sound, the voice actors, great. Great. I mean, this anime has all the makings to be a great anime this season. I understand why it's number 1 in the rankings, why people are watching it, why people are loving it. For some reason, this first 11 episodes just didn't resonate with me. I don't know what it is. It's very plot driven, but with that plot is, and we'll discuss this, it gets a little repetitive. It certainly gets melodramatic at times. And even though it gives you some good world building, I don't the world building is good. I think it excels more as a drama. This really excels as a drama, but the world building is not enough for me to be invested. The main enemy that they're facing in this anime is the Legion, and after 11 episodes, I feel like we don't know shit about them. One of the biggest positives I can say about the show is that I do feel like Lena is a great protagonist. We're not going to go over the synopsis of the story, but we're just going to go straight into it. What we thought about it. Um, great protagonist, and her squadron that she looks over. There's a lot of them in the beginning, and a lot of names, a lot of characters thrown at you. There are a couple that stand out at you, but overall, the only real character I loved in the show was Lena, honestly. And there are some really tense moments, and again, it's presented beautifully. I think I said in a couple episodes ago, it's like going to a 5-star restaurant, sit down at a nice table, you get great service, the atmosphere is nice. You look at the menu, everything looks good, everything looks clean. You order, again, you're new to the restaurant, you order what you think you like. It comes out, it looks great, it smells great. You take a bite, not as good as you thought it would be. And you could see why the person you went with, your guest, your date, loves that dish, but the dish doesn't suit your taste buds. Everyone has their own individual taste buds. The dish doesn't suit your own taste personally. So that is my personal thoughts on the series. I would love to hear your thoughts as a whole on 86. What did you think of this anime, Germs?
Mhm.
Don't
Yeah,
hold back. What'd you think?
yeah, it's it's very interesting how this series went. If you look back and you see like our first like 6, 7, or probably the first 6 weeks, you'd see me saying the same thing over again. I'm loving the world building that's going on. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. The fights look great. The same thing as James just said. And I was just saying every week over and over again, it's just not hooking me. I don't know. Like I'm just waiting each week for the one that hooks me. It's good stuff. Every week I'm like, okay, this is good stuff. I'm waiting for it to really hook me. Something really spicy to go get me. I just never bit. I never bit the hook. So
Yep.
it's great. I can see a lot of the reasons why people like it. I can see and feel and hear all the great things about the series, but it just doesn't hit me. It just doesn't hook me. I just didn't enjoy at the end. I'm like, it's like just waiting. You're going up and up on the roller coaster. I'm like, okay, I'm so excited to see, so excited, and it just kind of just, eh.
The dip isn't big enough. It's not a big enough fall, It's just kind of like a little dips in the ride. Not enough for you to want to get back on that ride, would you say?
Oh, I definitely wouldn't want to get back on this ride. Maybe maybe the second season, maybe if I see the trailer and see how it is, I'm like, okay, maybe it's done what it needs to for me to be able to get right back in. But currently, and especially how it ends, it's just like, I don't have any love for this series. I don't have any desire for the series. I feel like I've already seen all the things this show had to give me. I don't know. It just
let me comment on the way the series ends. And again, this is spoiler free. I'm not getting into anything specific here. I'm just talking about my own thoughts and feelings about it. Nothing that would, nothing specific at all. But A1 Pictures, you guys didn't end the series where you needed to. Yes, I know it's going to be 2 cores. I know that we're going to get another core, another 11, 12, 13, whatever it is, episodes. But the fact that it's not continuous, we're ending, this review is the first 11 episodes. We don't know if the next core is going to be season 1, part 2, or just season 2, or whatever, however they want to title it, right? But we're just reviewing this first batch of 11 episodes. This is all we have, right? And so this first batch of episodes just doesn't do it. For me, personally, again, I totally understand why people love this. I get it. I see it. Like, I can tell that they put a lot of time and energy into this. I can tell it's a labor of love. I can tell it's a great adaptation. This is probably a really good adaptation if you love the source material. We did not read the light novel before coming into this, and it just didn't hook us in the way we wanted it to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's all. It's weird. We agree a lot. We agree a lot on the show.
I think there was a few episodes where we had I think it was an episode or two where we disagreed on what we thought. But overall, just if you see week
overall, we agree. I think you hated it a little bit more than me. All right, so what do you give it out of 5? Be honest.
I'll give it a 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5?
If it was an actually just bad show, easily I'd just give it a 1. That's how I'll just give it. But I can see the reasons why it could be good, but just a 2 out of 5.
After 11 episodes, I feel like I watched the same thing over and over again a lot. I did, man. I really did. I don't think I don't think the pacing was slow. I think it's an episode count thing. The pacing was probably fine, but after those 11 that was not enough. That was like weird place to end it. We weren't hooked enough. This is something that you really need to get invested in. I don't know how long the light novel series is. I don't know if it's still going. I think it is, but this might be one of those slow burners that takes a while. But after 11, that's not this 11 was not it. You know what I mean? To get you hooked, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. Let's assume that the second season's the same, or like you hate it, or whatever. Maybe you don't watch it. Would you rewatch this first season? Like, is there any rewatchability of this first season for you?
Nope.
Right?
0. I've already seen the show a few times already.
Yeah, and that's why I'm giving it a 3, because if the second season turns this thing around, I guess it'd be worth it to watch this. But like, you can't judge a series off of what it's going to be in the future. You have to judge it on what you got, right? Like it again. Going back to the dinner analogy, you can't judge your dinner experience off of your dessert. You know what I mean? Like how good was your meal? Your dinner meal, the main meal, the main dish. Don't talk to me about the dessert after the dessert that's going to come. What did you think of the dinner you had? You know what I mean? Once the dessert comes and you want to look at your entire experience at the restaurant, okay, now we can add in all of the factors, right? But we only have these 11 episodes. We only have this meal to chew on. And so I don't know if I'd rewatch. I don't think I'd rewatch this. You know what I mean? Like it didn't hook me. So, all right. And then last question. So that's our review of the show. Not the biggest fans as you guys are, but please comment down below. How crazy are we on a scale of 1 to 10? How crazy are we? We know a lot of you guys loved it. Are we crazy for not loving it? Hey, we might be. If it did hook you, where did it hook you? Right? What are we missing? You know what I mean? We don't go into a series trying to hate it. We want to love it, but we also don't want to lie. We also want to give our honest thoughts on the Weeb Retreat. So it was announced that we are getting a special episode next week. I don't know if it's a recap episode. I don't know if it's a teaser for season 2. Are you even going to watch that, or?
I'll watch it.
You gonna watch it? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So then if you're going to watch it, then we'll review it next week on the weekly roundup. But yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully maybe it gives us a teaser for season 2. I mean, listen, I know the light novel readers know that it gets good and they swear it gets good. And I'm just, I'm wondering, where does it get good? Where does it get good? All right. So that is our review of 86. First show on the weekly roundup to conclude. Next week, we will have reviews of Megalo Box and Nagatoro. That's going to be spicy. Oh my God. Because those 2 are ending next week. And then the other 2 on the roundup, Tokyo Revengers and Boku no Hero. Those will be continuing. All righty. So I said there was going to be 2 reviews for this week's weekly discussion. That was the first review. This second review is going to be of the Record of Ragnarok, Netflix exclusive, Netflix produced anime. It is a ONA, an original net animation. And without saying anything, I will let you have the floor because I never want to influence your opinions. Overall, spoiler free, we can get into spoilers. What did you think of Record of Ragnarok's first season? Germs, you have the floor.
Well, I got a little interesting surprise throw in here. I think I might have sent you a little message, but before I watched the Record of Ragnarok, I read all of Record of Ragnarok. So, and my reasoning for that...
Are you caught up?
I'm fully caught up. I've read every chapter that's out.
Nice.
And, you know, I wanted to do that not just to say, you know, I read the manga earlier, blah, blah, blah. Because I heard the news and everyone's talking about it. I'm like, oh, I should probably read the manga first. Just, you know, I don't get influenced by just the animation and what's going on. I want to see, you know, what makes people love the series so much. And
right?
Oh boy, what a great time that reading that was. I felt like back into my Kengan Ashura days, just reading that all at once. It was like, oh, what a great time! It's just great, dumb, fun watching people beat the shit out of each other. It's just that's
It's
basically
everything we want.
that's basically what the whole show was.
Our kind of show.
So after I read the manga, I was like, okay, now I'm ready to watch the anime. Let me see what's going on, because I was hearing people all over the internet like shit on everyone's just posting the
anime
Aphrodite
fandom
meme.
Yep, the anime fandom is hating this one.
So I was like, oh shit, okay, let's see what kind of they got here. And honestly, after watching all 12 episodes, it wasn't great, but it wasn't like bad. Honestly, I was expecting like a slideshow. I was expecting House Husband here. I was like, oh no, this is like, I'm about to be on the reverse side of Mr. James seeing House Husband being treated so well. I'm about to see Record of Ragnarok be shoved through the dirt here. And honestly, it wasn't. The animation wasn't fantastic, but the story beats and the story and everything was adapted how I kind of would imagine it'd be. It wasn't like they didn't put all their effort into this. It didn't feel like a super fantastic adaptation like Nagatoro or something, but it just kind of like the bare bones adaptation a show can really get, you know, which isn't great as an anime watcher. I'd imagine, but as a manga reader, it's like, okay, I got to see some of the moments animated. They weren't animated fantastically. This is no bones or Madhouse or whatever.
Or Mappa,
it's like, or Mappa. It's just like, okay, not bad, but not what I wanted it to be. That's basically the whole. That's my review of the season, of the anime season. It's just not what I wanted it to be. It's like I can see it. I can see if I squint my eyes and I see the frames per, and then I don't look at the frames per second, and I'm like, okay, look at just the pictures. I pause it. I'm like, okay, that's what I am at. That's the manga panel right there.
Mm-hmm.
But just it seeing it in motion, it was just like, oh no, please no. Like I seen like random fights from like other shows this season that looked better than this. It's like, please, why it didn't deserve this. But that's my basic review of the season. Just not what it deserved for how fantastic the series is. What are your thoughts?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you. I want to thank you. Second of all, I think there's a reason we do this show together, man. I really do. I agree with a lot of what you just said. First of all, I want to say, I want to start, I thought you might go in another direction because everyone hates this one. So let me just start off here. And I'm going to say what everyone else besides you, because I didn't know that you would say this, but basically what no one else wants to say, and that's, this shit is so overhated, it's ridiculous. This anime is really, really overhated. I don't want to say underrated, but it's certainly overhated. The people on Twitter make it seem like this is a slideshow. This ain't a fucking slideshow. The Way of the House Husband is a slideshow. It's a disgrace that people consider this a slideshow. This is an actual adaptation. Now, it may not be the best adaptation, but this is
an adaptation.
It's an adaptation. You cannot say that this is a slideshow. For all the people out there saying that this is a slideshow, you're spoiled. You've gotten way too spoiled with anime. You need to stop watching shows like Demon Slayer. You need to stop watching shows like Jujutsu Kaisen. You need to stop watching shows like Out of High School. You need to look at anime a little bit more holistically, okay? Just because you love the manga so much does not mean that it's going to be animated exactly how you want it to be. So, and I don't want to say the person's name, but I saw someone on social media very hyped up about this, tweeting, "Oh my God, what a ride, what a journey." And then when they go to post a video about it, they're a little bit less enthusiastic. And I know why. That's because human beings are influenced by other human beings. We're influenced by news. We're influenced by social media. We're influenced by people we talk to, people we listen to. I get it. I understand. But I think a lot of people were in that conundrum where they may have enjoyed the series, but because the hate for it is overwhelming. I mean, you talked about the memes. Just go on Twitter. Just hashtag Record of Ragnarok. See what the people are saying about this. I mean, the people hate this. You know what I mean? And it's a bandwagon. I mean, people are just bandwagoning on top of the show. And it does not deserve the hate that it gets. By no means is this a terrible season of anime. By no means. By no means. Which begs the question, was it good? I mean, listen. It has its own style. You know, I don't want to sit here and say it was great, right? But it certainly has its own style. This preferred a little bit more choppy animation with flashy designs as opposed to very fluid animation. Now, listen, I get it. If you want great fights and you're like, it's all about the fights, I want to see fluid animation for the fights. I get that. But
I wish, I wish as well.
I wish as well. Dude, if Mappa could have done this would have been great. You know what I mean? Like you could, if Ufotable would have done this would have been great. You could sit here and think all day about how it could have been better. But at the end of the day, that's not what happened. This is the product we got. And I think it really comes down to a fundamental question for how you judge an anime. There's kind of two routes that I see. And you kind of are going down one route, and I think it's interesting. One way to judge an anime is how well of an adaptation this is, right? You look at the manga, you look at the anime, was this a good adaptation? Another way is just reviewing and looking at the anime on its own as a standalone entity. And I don't, you know, people are going to say I'm a little bit hypocritical because the House Husband review, but that's only because it literally looked like the manga. Like there's no point in watching that shit, right? But I don't think that you should judge an anime on how well it adapts on manga. I think it's certainly a factor, but if an anime doesn't adapt a manga in the perfect way that you want it to, it doesn't mean it's a bad anime, right? That's just a stylistic choice. So that's a fundamental question. Are you judging anime based on manga, or are you judging anime just based on other anime, or just, you know, your enjoyment of the series? And yeah, I mean, I'll ask you how you judge an anime, but I think it's ridiculous to judge it compared to the manga because 95% of the time it's not going to be as good. Very few shows. We could say Demon Slayer. We could say
Nagatoro.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I mean, Nagatoro. How many adaptations like are better than the manga? You know what I mean? Like honestly, like not just the stuff that we watch. Like look at anime as a whole. All the shows coming out. How many anime actually enhance the experience, enhance the story, are actually better than the manga? Very few. Very few, right? And the ones that do are like beautiful. We love them, but very few. So it's a losing game. It's a losing game. If you go in to watch a movie and you're like, oh, I'm going to read the books first, you're going to hate the movie. You know what I mean? Because just like anime, just like manga, the detail, they have time constraints. It's not going to be the full fleshed out story exactly how you want it to be. You're going to be disappointed every single time. Stop comparing anime to manga so much. Listen, as a guy who doesn't read manga as much, I fully accept that manga is mostly better. I fully accept that. But if you go into an anime, only because I read the episode forums for every episode,
The Mad Lab.
people point out, even like JoJo's, people will be like, oh, this adapted this episode. I think next week is going to adapt this episode. I left out this page in the manga, but it did really well with these pages of the manga. I'm like, oh my, you're not even enjoying the anime. You're just comparing it to the manga at that point. You know what I mean? So I think it's a fundamental question. And yeah, for to you, what do you think about what I just said?
Yeah, I thought just overall it was like I was watching, I'm like, oh, this is exactly everything I wanted to see. There's, you know, I even like there was like one very small moment like right in the beginning. I'm like, oh, okay, they skipped that. It wasn't really much anyway. But other than that, I was like, this is exactly what I expected to see from an adaptation of this. Like
Pretty much.
the pacing was exactly how I expected. I felt like how I was reading it, like three fights, 12 episodes. It's exactly what I expected. They had all the moments.
Makes sense.
They had the little style that they added when they went back in the past, and some scenes looked a lot cooler.
I didn't like that style. I'll be honest, but again, You know,
Mm.
we're not saying it's the best adaptation here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because like with Kengan Ashura, they kind of did that similar kind of thing where like it was 3D, but then once they do the backstory, it's like 2D. It's its own special style. So they kind of did that kind of thing. And some certain moments, they really enhanced it with the anime. Like with the samurai guy when he's like going on that boat, and it's like, oh, who is it? Is it this guy? Is it this guy? This other swordsman? Like in the manga, it was just like each panel is just like each guy, but like on I
yeah,
feel like the way they did it in the anime, like it had it like in the reflections of the water, all the different other swordsmen. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I feel like they did their own little enhancements what they could with the anime. They made it
yeah.
their own little thing here. They didn't just go slide. They didn't. This is no Queen
This
Bee
is not a
or
slideshow.
yeah.
Yeah,
They didn't. They
this is
didn't. They
not
didn't
a
take it.
slideshow.
They might have taken some panels and did the exact same copies, but they didn't. They didn't just focus just on the manga and be like, this is exactly how it should be. Like it has to be exactly like this. This page will be to go to here, and that's how it's going to happen. No, they didn't care about that. They kind of did it in their own way that makes in the way that works best for anime.
Yeah,
Not
listen,
really.
if you take if you just pause it, the designs look fantastic. Um, this again, it's a stylistic choice. They chose to have um, you know, frames that aren't as fluid, but are beautifully drawn. You know what I mean? Again, it's a fighting show. I get why you want more fluid animation for the fights. What do you think about what I'm saying? Do you think people are judging this too harshly to the manga? Do you think a lot of the fandom is just too much of a stickler about the adaptation? And I'm not saying it's a great adaptation. I don't think you're not saying it's a great adaptation. But for people to say it's a slideshow, it does a huge disservice to the manga. I think people are just I think people really need to slow down with the comparisons to the manga. But would you agree with that?
It's a little hard because I kind of stayed away from all the reviews and everything, especially for recording the review here.
Yeah.
I kind of want to just let it, not have any influence. I saw
Mhm.
all the memes and stuff, but I didn't actually look at anyone's review or so
Man,
I
it's
didn't even know.
everywhere.
Yeah, I can
Hate's
imagine.
everywhere.
So I've been
Yeah.
looking away from that for the past while. So I don't have any idea how harsh people have been treating it, but
Yeah, you look at the Twitter comments, it's just yeah, everyone's bashing on it. Um, but yeah, listen, I'm not saying this is a great show. Listen,
yeah.
for me, a couple things. I think the backstories were terrible. Yes, they're part of the manga, I get that, but I don't think they were handled well here. Little slow pacing. I think 3 fights was good, but a little slow pacing. The final fight between Kojiro Sasaki and Poseidon, I didn't really like it as much, honestly. That was kind of a burner to get through. But listen, Adam and Zeus is really where it's at this season. That shit was so good. But again, is there a slideshow in there? Yes, there's a slideshow in there. Was the entire fight a slideshow? No, it was not. But remember that one scene where it's kind of showing everyone's reaction, and yeah, that's a slideshow. We'll be honest. I'll be honest, but you can't tell me that whole fight was a slideshow. Come on, man. Come on.
Mhm.
But yeah, I found the backstories a little boring and unnecessary. With Poseidon's backstory, there's this 13th god of Olympus, Adamas. That's a made up. If you're gonna stick to religious and mythological lore, I'd prefer if you like stick to it. I think
Oh, they don't.
kind of make it. Yeah,
They,
yeah. I mean, making up your own god, I think, is dumb. Every other backstory, at least pertaining to the religious, the gods and all that, was kind of, I was fine with that. But making up your own 13th Olympic god was kind of dumb. But listen, this was such a treat. It was such a great commercial for the manga that I started reading the manga too. And without spoiling anything, the fight, because they previewed a fight at the end here. They preview another one. So I went and read that one, and that shit was so good. Oh my gosh, Germs. That fight was so good. Without saying any names, because this is spoiler free, but yeah, I kind of think of this as Yasuke. With Yasuke, another Netflix anime original, I kind of had a lot of investment in the beginning, but then kind of lost it by the end of the series. But this is, by the way, this is better than Yasuke, for sure, in my opinion. This is definitely better than Yasuke, but it was such a good commercial that I had to go start reading the manga. You know what I mean? It's decent. It's a decent adaptation. It's nowhere near a slideshow. It's not horrendous. Anyone saying this is a 2 or a 4 out of 10, I think they're crazy. But it does leave you a little unsatisfied. There's no doubt about that. I think again, everything you said in the beginning, I agree with you. Is it terrible? Is it a slideshow? No. But it's not the best adaptation. I'm glad we got it. I had fun with it. It definitely got me to read the manga a little bit. But not the best adaptation. For sure.
Yeah.
But it does not deserve the hate that it gets. But yeah, okay, final thoughts for the spoiler-free section, then we'll get into spoilers. Any final thoughts for spoiler-free?
Yeah, if you watch this anime and you're like, okay, I like how it's going on here, maybe I wish it looked a little better, just go read the manga. That's usually what the anime adaptation is anyway, but this one really for sure.
Yeah.
Like, they got a lot of the designs and the detail and how things looked, but it's just that a little bit better in the manga, but that's how it's always going to be. There's never going to be, well, maybe there may be some shows that looks better in the anime than the manga, but, and you get a lot more story if you read the manga and all that stuff, but not a bad adaptation. I'll wait to give my score in a second, but
yeah, we'll do that at the end of the.
Not fantastic. Yeah. It's just kind of, yeah.
I feel the same.
It's a little sad seeing it gain this adaptation, but it's not like we can do much to change it anyway.
Listen, it was good enough that it wanted me to it got me to read the manga. You know what I mean? So at least it did its job in some sense. You know what I mean? So yeah, very much like Germs, not a terrible adaptation. Don't listen to what the people say out there. Just go watch it. And if you don't enjoy it, read the manga. But if you do enjoy it, don't let people sway your opinion. You know what I mean?
That's what we're all about here.
Yeah. It's not. It leaves me a little unsatisfied. It does. It leaves me a little unsatisfied. Didn't really like the last fight. I do have complaints with the pacing. I do have complaints with some of the backstories. The animation's not the best, but they chose design over fluidity, right? Like no Sakuga here, no beautiful choreography, but they chose to have very rich and colorful, detailed character designs, and that's a stylistic choice. And if you hate it for that reason, that's fine. But please stop holding a candle to the manga. If it doesn't look and adapt the manga exactly how you want, you're not going to enjoy any anime. You know what I mean? Like it's just how it be. The mangas are usually better. It's just how it be. All right. Spoiler section. Let's get into it. What spoilers you want to talk?
No.
You want to go through the fights?
Sure.
What did you think of all the fights?
They did everything I wanted to see. Like I'm a little bit surprised, like especially like with Poseidon's fight when he gets with all the fights, like in the beginning when losing limbs, cutting off heads. I was expecting some big black bars, white lights. I was like,
it's an ONA. It's straight to streaming, so they could get around that. You know what I mean? No TV.
Yeah, so I was really happy seeing that. I'm like, okay, they like seeing Poseidon cut into just the legs and that little stump. It's like, oh, brutal.
Oh yeah.
In the manga, it's like, brutal. Oh. And then I see the anime, like, oh, it's exactly how I expected. But I didn't expect him to do that. So I was really surprised by the brutality and how they kept it just how it was. There was I didn't feel like there was no censoring. Aphrodite's titties were that big in the manga, maybe a little bit bigger in the manga.
They were.
So it's just they just adapted, exactly how I expected. Not they didn't do everything I wanted to do. Not the most fluid and all that stuff, but they did a good job. Well, not great, not bad, just a good job.
I feel the same. I'm a little unsatisfied, but it doesn't deserve the hate it gets. I thought, for me, dude, the one that really hooked me was Adam and Zeus. I thought that shit was so good, dude. I love that fight. And listen, I know it's not the most fluid, and you get a lot of, like the typical anime trope of a barrage of punches instead of actually animating every punch. Yes, I know it could have been animated, but for what we got, there was a lot of really high impact, intense moments there. You know what I mean? There was a lot of good stuff there. That's when I was like, okay, I'm probably because it halfway through the season, you're like, okay, they're not going to conclude this tournament, so I'm definitely going to read the manga. And then yeah, at the end they introduced Jack the Ripper. I was like, oh shit! Right after this, I'm gonna read the manga. So I read I at least got to that fight, and oh my god, Germs, that shit was so good. That shit was
And
so good.
I think the really good thing here is that like there was nothing really left on the kitchen sink on the floor or anything. Like it's perfectly good show to just wherever you stop watching, just go right to reading. You won't miss a single beat.
It's perfect for that. And honestly, I skimmed the chapters from the anime that they adapted. Yes, I know that the manga's better. I know people are bitching about it, but I didn't really feel like I missed that much.
Yeah,
yes, they're beautiful. They're beautiful panels, but it pretty much. I went back a few chapters. It pretty much adapted everything. It pretty much did. Again, is this a map adaptation? Is this a ufotable adaptation? No, but it pretty much did a 1-to-1 adaptation. I mean, you mentioned that they skipped one thing, but from what I saw, pretty much they just adapted it. You know,
it was just like a little even. It was, and the thing I noticed was just like a little moment, like right in the beginning when they're doing the council and they're doing the little vote. Right in the beginning, Zeus has like that dragon like all around him, like.
I do remember that. Yes,
so in the
that
manga,
wasn't in the anime, huh?
Yeah, so in the manga, he like kills the dragons, like let's go, but
yeah, okay.
But it's such a small little thing that it doesn't even matter in the grand scale thing.
Yeah,
like,
see, I didn't even look at that because I was scanning. I was just scrolling through it. I didn't even look at that. And be like, oh my god, that wasn't in the anime. It's not like a huge.
Everything,
you know what I mean?
Brunhilde and her sassiness and all the emotion was perfectly conveyed. There's nothing. There was no extra little scenes, no extra little. It's like they did everything that was in the manga, and they really. And now I really like all the backstory and all like the fake history they make for some of these gods and stuff. And
a lot of it's a lot of it's grounded though. Like a lot of it is their story, but they'll like take it in a new place, right? Like
Jack the Ripper, I would imagine.
Oh, okay. I'm speaking more of the gods. Jack the Ripper, they probably, they made that. They probably, because I don't think there's much known about him. So I think they totally fucking made that up. But speaking of just like my knowledge of, mythology and religion and that, like the Adam story. They did the Adam and Eve story, but they put their own twist on it instead of them just being banished because, this is another thing I kind of wanted to talk about. I don't know if y'all have much to say about this, but so one thing I wanted to talk about was like, because they did bring in Adam, right? And Adam is from Judeo-Christian origin. So I was curious, like, how are they going to mix monotheism with polytheism, right? Because you have the Nordic gods and the ancient Greek and Roman gods, but and they didn't really go into any monotheistic god, but they did bring in Adam. So the twist they put there was instead of being banished by the Christian or Jewish god, he was banished by just the gods in general, right? So they have like a little trial. You have the serpent. The serpent isn't Satan. It's just evil serpent, dude. God, evil dude. So again, they took the stories. They're not, I guess, exactly accurate, but they made them work into the world. The only shit that I didn't like is when they're like, yeah, here's Adonis. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Because I took Greek myth. And I'm just like, who is that? You know what I mean? It's like, no, but just like, I don't know, man. If you're gonna like just stick to, there's such rich history with all these gods. They did it perfect for all of them, but just stick to it. You could put a little twist on it, but don't go inventing shit. But for the humans, like, yes, Jack the Ripper, I don't have a problem with that. We don't know much about him. If you want to give us a crazy backstory, and by the way, his backstory is fucking epic. Love that shit. I was fine with that, but yeah. All right. So, what do you give it out of 5?
Oh, it's real sad to say, but I'm just gonna give it a. I'll give it a 3. It's Same. Average. Same. I wish I really wish. I always wish I could give it a higher.
It's like almost a 4. Like it's almost one of those. It's like right there. It's like this could have been a great show, but it just leaves you a little unsatisfied. But let me ask you a question. Are you satisfied enough that you will check out the second season?
Oh yeah.
See, I feel the same. We literally agree on everything, Germs. We gotta start fighting more on the show. But listen, just this by itself, I don't know if I just rewatch this by itself, but it does. When the second season drops, I want to see that next fight animated. I'm sure, and you
Wait
would
till
know
the-
this because you're totally completed, right? So or caught up. So are the ones after that fight even good too? I mean, I assume so, but
Oh yeah.
good shit.
The one real sad thing, the saddest thing I would say is that there isn't that many fights after this. I think there's another season of content and stuff, but there's only been like 6 fights, which is real sad.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
it's
yeah,
really sad.
it comes out monthly, right?
Yeah,
I think it comes out monthly.
It's like 47 chapters, which
It's
is
like 45. Yeah.
which is a lot.
so-
And if you think about monthly, that's like that's like a few years. But in terms of like overall story, it's like, fuck, we're not fight 10 or something deep in. We're only like
Yeah.
5, maybe 6. But
And the story's gonna be where it's 13, right? So they're gonna tie 6-6, and then there's gonna be a final one to decide the fate of humanity. That's gonna be how it happens. One side's not gonna get 7 and be done with it. You know what I mean? So they're gonna extend it and hype it up. I mean, this anime is literally a fucking tournament arc. That's literally what it is. It's like Baki.
Einstein.
Einstein's in there?
No,
Oh my
like
gosh.
but
Okay.
like it's like anyone could ever think of. Yeah, he here, dude. Muhammad Ali. Wait till Muhammad Ali shows up. Something like that. Like anyone you can ever think of. It's like maybe Bruce Lee gonna show up. Maybe
like
Chuck Norris.
Shakespeare and
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Well, Nikola Tesla is on the
I love
list.
seeing all that shit. Even who?
Nikola Tesla. He's on the list of humanity's fighters.
Oh, okay.
It's like, what the fuck
Oh,
is
on
he
the
gonna
list of the
do?
fighters? Wow.
Yeah, because we do have a
Interesting.
list, but there is a little bit of a twist with so those 13 that you see on like it was a little sad that in the anime they didn't really like pause on the list. They did, but like it was in Japanese, so whoever was in the subtitles or whatever.
They don't want to give it away though. I assume is what they were going for. They don't want to spoil it. I assume.
Yeah. So in the manga you get to see, but there is still a little twist on that if you continue reading. So it might not.
Yeah.
Everyone on that list might not be everyone on the list, but it's
Well,
really
yeah.
good.
Zeus was just like, yeah, fucking, I'm fighting. So yeah, I assume that there's gonna be changes and shit like that. But yeah, man, honestly, not terrible, not the worst thing ever.
But the
I will
manga,
be
though,
watching the manga's good. Listen, if you want the best experience of the show, of this story, go read the
Series.
manga. But here's the thing, and this is what I was trying to say in the review.
I know.
That's applicable to 95% of anime. Why watch anime if you want the best experience? Just go read the manga for most of these stories. You know what I mean? You can't just judge it by how well of an adaptation is. You can't.
Mhm.
You can't. You know what I mean? Because you're going to be let down 95% of the time. Most anime are not better than the manga. They're just not,
Mhm.
And so for people to be pissed that this is not a fucking, map adaptation, sorry. It's a 1-to-1 adaptation. It's decent. I would say it's even good. It's not great. I wanted it to be great. It's not great, but it's good. But for people to be pissed that it's not fucking, Sakuga up the ass, go read the manga. You know what I mean? Like this is a different medium. You can't. It's not gonna, you know what I mean? You're just gonna be let down if that's your only point of reviewing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Your
yeah.
only way of analyzing a show.
Especially some of the crazier fan bases. I'm a little scared for the Chainsaw Man adaptation, honestly.
Oh my! I'm so
those
scared
fans,
for that, dude.
those fans are on a whole nother level. I don't think I've ever seen fans of this caliber of craziness and dedication to the series. Like, I can't think of anything else. Like, Boku no Hero stands, and I feel like even K-pop stands might be better than Chainsaw Man people. Like those Chainsaw Man readers.
A trailer. I think a trailer for that's coming out like this coming week or something like that. I think Mappa's gonna unveil a trailer for that.
Yeah,
teaser or whatever.
I think Chainsaw Man. I'll wait till it's after it's done animated to read the manga, because I feel like if I read the manga, I'm not gonna join those Chainsaw Man. But I think the detail in I just want like some pictures. It's like, okay, the detail is just so deep in here. It's gonna be hard to do a like adaptation that will make the manga readers happy. Just like with me with my Berserk or something like else. Like, I feel like
I should have brought up Berserk, dude. Berserk is a great example, right? So you have the 90s series and people love it. Then you have the CGI shit and that's terrible. We're never going to get Berserk animated perfectly. You're
Mm-hmm.
never gonna never take it to the bank. You're never gonna get an anime that looks as beautiful as the manga. So when we do get a decent anime, if we ever do, and I think we have one, we have the '90s series, which is good. And if they could continue that '90s series or do something, maybe restart it, fresh coat of paint. Um, Berserk is a perfect example. That an anime will never be better than the manga. So when an anime does come out and people bitch that it's not as good as the manga, your opinion's invalid. It never was going to be as good. You have to judge it on its own, right? You know what I mean? But I'm getting heated about this. But yeah, dude, the hate's everywhere. The hate's everywhere for this one. And I thought you were gonna hate it. I thought that you were gonna hate the adaptation. Like, oh shit, another Netflix adaptation. Here we are, Germs. We're agreeing yet again.
And Netflix did a not the fantastic job, but they're probably their best so far in a long while.
Oh, of the four, of Yasuke, Way of the House Husband, High Rise Invasion. I've seen 4. You've seen 3 this year. Of those 4, like God, I can't even remember that shit. Easily the best. Easily better than. I mean, it's not even a question with House Husband, and this is better than Yasuke. Make no mistake about it. Does it leave you a little bit unsatisfied? Like, they could have nailed it. Yes, but that's 95% of anime out there. I think it did a decent job. Not great. It could have been better. I would have preferred if it was better. I understand where people are coming from, but you cannot expect a 10 or a 9 every single show. You can't, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, that's why I watch so many shows.
I know. So like, we're cultured weebs, you know what I mean? Like, this is like a 7, you know? I wanted it to be 8 or 9. I wanted it to, but it's not like a 6 or like it's like a 7, you know? It's good. It's decent. Could have been better, but yeah, I'm so happy that we agree, bro. I thought we'd fight. I thought we'd have a clash of opinions here, but yeah. We're just too cultured of weebs to disagree. All right, so that's going to be our review of Record of Ragnarok. What did you guys think of it? If you hate it, feel free to sound off. We would love to hear your opinion. And yeah. So that's this week's episode. That was a spicy episode. We did 2 reviews. The season's coming to an end. Yeah. Look out for our preseason thoughts for summer 2021. All right, weebs, we hope you enjoyed your stay. Make sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you're a weeb like we are. We really are bringing you guys the best content we can. We are trying to get this channel to pop off. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, make sure you give us a follow there. Any final thoughts for this week's spicy episode, Germs?
A lot of good stuff. You know, a lot of things to talk about this week, especially the reviews as well. Just a lot of discussion going on here.
And yeah, 2 this week, not 1, but 2. And we will have 2 next week. We'll have a Nomad review, Megalo Box, and a Nagatoro review because those 2 are ending next week. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, guys, we'll see you next week. Weebs out. Peace.